I have another great fall recipe for you. Today we're doing apple crumble cake with caramel sauce. This is delicious, y'all. Come on, let's get it going. So we're starting off with some cake flour today. And we're going to be going in with 3 full cups of cake flour. Next, we're going to be putting in 1 stick of salted butter, which is equivalent to a 1/2 cup. And I'm putting this in cold. It doesn't have to be frozen, just fresh out the refrigerator is fine. And if you have a cheese grater, that would probably work a little bit better for you, but I'm not using my cheese grater today. I'm just chopping it up pretty good here. And using this cold butter instead of melted butter, this is going to give this cake a fluffier texture. You want to chop it up pretty fine. Okay, so now we're going to add it to our flour. And just like we do biscuits, we're just gonna work that butter and flour in together real good. Give it a real mealy texture. I love this part. It's kind of therapeutic for me, y'all. So next we're going in with baking powder. We're going in with 1 teaspoon. Next, we're going in with a teaspoon of baking soda. All right, just going to take our whisk or a little rubber spatula, whatever you have, and just kind of mix that on in. And this is a crumbly cake. It's fluffy but crumbly at the same time. Next, we're going in with 1 cup of light brown sugar. And if you have dark brown, that will work as well. But I'm using light brown today. We're going in with 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. Put in a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now we're going to take our whisk here and mix that all in. Make sure to chop that the brown sugar and the granulated sugar, get it all nice and mixed in. A lot of times the brown sugar will clump up on you, and that's why we're just gonna chop it up real good with the whisk here. Again, it's supposed to be a little crumbly, so you have little small bits, it's okay. You just don't want the pieces to be too big. All right, this is the texture we're going for. Okay, so next we're going to be adding vegetable oil here. Going in with a 1/3 cup. All right, and now we're going to just mix this all in until it becomes really crumbly. And just that amount of oil is going to get it nice and wet here. It's going to take a little time though. All right, now we're going in with a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Going in with nutmeg now, just a 1/4 teaspoon will do. Nutmeg could be a little strong, so we don't want to overpower things with too much nutmeg. So just a 1/4 teaspoon. Now we're going to work that all in here. Coming together nicely. Nice and crumbly, perfect texture. Okay, so now you're just gonna work it with your hands a little bit to make sure if there's any large chunks in here of anything, just gonna get it nice and finely mixed in here. Don't want any pieces too big. So now we're gonna take a 1/2 cup. Gonna separate out a 1/2 cup, pour it into a bowl here because this is going to be our crumbly texture. Crumbly topping rather, that we're going to put on top of our cake. And to this crumbly topping, we're going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Kind of like we do a coffee cake. I love coffee cake as well. And I also have a recipe for that one as well. It's pretty close to this one. Okay, so now we're going in with 3 eggs in a separate bowl. Okay, we're going to whisk that all in. Getting that air in those eggs real good. Before we add anything else, you want to get a lot of air into this. Perfect. So now we're going in with buttermilk. You want to give it a good shake. And we're going in with 1 cup of buttermilk. Next, we're going in with 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And working that all in here. All right, so now the star of the show, we're going in with 2 Honeycrisp apples. Now you can use whatever 2 type of apples you like. You can use Granny Smith, it's fine, but I prefer Honeycrisp in mine. So I've already peeled them here. It's going to cut around the core, trying your best not to cut into the core like I just did. Try not to do that. But if you do that, of course, just take your knife like so and just dig out that little piece here. Not that big a deal. Again, so we're going to take our second apple here and again cut around the core. Trying your best not to cut into the core. All right, and now we're going to chop these apples into very thin slices. Now, y'all, I am not a trained chef. You know how chefs do their little fast chopping and then they have their knuckles placed a certain way. Look, I'm a professional cook. I've been cooking for years, owned a restaurant for years, but I've never have claimed to be a professional chef. So, as you can see, I do not cut my apples like a chef would. But I'm pretty sure most of you all are like me. You're not chefs, you're cooks, right? Okay, so just continue to cut your apples nice and thin. We don't want too big of pieces going into our cake batter. All right, so this is about how thin they should be. That's perfect. And you want to cut them pretty fast because you know apples can turn really fast, turn the color rather. And if you don't chop them fast, you would have to put them in like a lemon water to preserve them, to keep them from getting brown. But I didn't want to do that step, so I just cut them pretty fast, and now I'm placing it into my egg and buttermilk mixture. So you want to do it pretty quickly so you can go ahead and get it in this mixture. Okay, so you just want to get those apples nice and saturated here. Perfect, and we're getting ready to pour it into our dry mixture. Looks like a lot of apples, but I promise it's not. It is the perfect amount here. Okay, so you're just gonna mix that all in. You want to get it nicely incorporated here, but you don't want to over mix. This is smelling so good, y'all. All right, that is absolutely perfect. That's how we want it to look before we pour it in this pan. So we're taking a 9 by 13 inch pan, just taking a little butter. And kind of grease the pan real good. Making sure you get that butter in all those little nooks and crannies here. All right, perfect. Okay, getting all that batter in here. And now we're going to take our crumbly topping and we're just going to evenly distribute it on top. Making sure we get a nice even coating of this crumbly topping before we fill it in. So you don't want to go too heavy in certain areas in the beginning because you do want to make sure you have enough to cover the entire cake first. And then you can go in and fill in the little empty little spots here to make it a little bit fuller. This crumbly topping makes this cake so good, y'all. Okay, so I put all the rest of that crumbly topping on. We're gonna pop this in the oven on 375 degrees for roughly about 45 minutes. All ovens are created differently, so please keep an eye on it. Okay, so now mine is out. It's nice and brown. And I'm just doing a little knife check here. Use a toothpick, of course, to make sure that your cake is done. Okay, so now I'm just gonna drizzle, spread some good caramel sauce on top. And I don't know about you all, but I'm just using my favorite store-bought caramel sauce brand because I did not have the time or the patience to stand over the stove for an hour and a half. So I'm using Smucker's caramel flavored caramel sauce. I love Smucker's, and if you're going to do a store-bought brand, I strongly recommend this one. Do you all have any other ones like in your region or whatever that you like to use? I know here in Memphis, this is the one I prefer. And again, if you like to make your own, hey, please make your own caramel sauce. I just wasn't going to do that today. Didn't want to take that hour and a half. All right, so now I have cut into this cake and I'm getting out a nice good piece here. Oh, this is so nice, so moist, y'all, so rich. Oh man, just perfect. It turned out perfect, y'all. Look how nice and moist this is. And you know I gotta cut into it. You know I gotta take a bite. That looks so good. All right, y'all. I will hope you all try this recipe real soon. Thank y'all so much for spending this time with me. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.